Good afternoon. I'm so honored to be here to share with you my story and my journey. Throughout my career, I've been interested in the intersections of poverty, opportunity, community, and belonging. As a child, my first experiences of community was on my grandmother's front porch. My mom worked a lot, and I had to spend a lot of time with my grandmom. And that was a blessing because everybody loved Miss Estelle. And I was honored to be Miss Estelle's grandbaby. And when I sat on the porch, we would watch folks walk down the road, and she would call them over, and she'd ask them, "Are you okay? Are you hungry? Do you need anything?" And it didn't matter where they were the night before, where they lived, or who they were part of the community. And no matter what, she took care of her community. She had 10 children. She shared what she had. She was wealthy in so many ways. But that's not how others describe the community that I lived in. My neighborhood was distressed, under-resourced. We were at risk, subsidized, living in projects and in hoods. We were not wealthy. But like so many other folks, I didn't know I was poor. I had everything I needed. I had a safe place, I had a home, and I had family that loved me. And it probably wasn't until high school that I recognized that I had lack. And it was one simple question from my high school classmate. She asked me what my parents did for a living. Up to that point, no one in my community asked me what my parents did for a living. They asked who my people were. They asked what tribe I belonged to. They asked how I was doing. But I quietly whispered that my mom had 2 jobs, and she worked in a factory, and she worked in tobacco, and she did housekeeping on the side to make sure that I had everything that I needed. And the response was, "Wow, you're so smart. You're so articulate." I would assume that your mom was a lawyer and your dad was a doctor. And that was a Cosby reference for everybody that grew up in the 80s. But that was a picture of successful Black life. But in that moment, I started questioning myself, questioning opportunity. Was I lucky? Should I be with this class of folks? What did opportunity and success look like? Who was afforded it? And why was it not available to everyone? For us growing up in poverty, college was the path. And my mom sacrificed everything to make sure that I got there. But it was other mothers and other folks that made sure that I stayed. My cousin, and I apologize, I lost my cousin this year at the age of 44. She was my sister, and we had plans to both go to college. But she had a child at a young age, and so the opportunity wasn't afforded to her. But she wanted to make sure that one of us achieved that goal. And so while she waitressed at the local restaurant, she would send me her tips while raising her son, just to make sure I had a little extra cash in my pocket and that I didn't give up on the dream. Because the degree that I received was not just my own, it was ours to share, and it was my community's. She was investing in me like so many other mothers was doing. And she knew that somehow this moment, this year would happen, and she needed me to be home, making a greater impact, more than what she can do. And so she invested in me. And this was not typical of what I was seeing in my community, because I saw other mothers that were taking care of the community in a special way. And in this last years of work with the foundation, mothers have been leading the charge in these neighborhoods. I met a woman named Miss Jean, and Miss Jean had lost her son, but she had also lost her grandson to gun violence. And she decided to start mobilizing, but she still worked a 12-hour shift. And I asked, what could philanthropy do? What could we help you do? How could we bring together young people, police, and mothers? How could we heal them? What was the answer? And it didn't take a big check, but a small investment in that mother. And in less than 2 years, in 2017, we had the highest number of homicides in our community. She was able to reverse that. I met another mother. Her name was Miss Constance. And she landed in public housing not because she made a bad choice, but she just landed there. But when she had an opportunity to leave, she decided to stay. And she would begin to read books to children under the tree every day after school. Not a formalized after-school program. Not thinking that she was going to change the third grade reading level for kids that were in that community. But she did. She did what she could do. And the more she started bringing folks together, her community that was known as one of the most dangerous places where no one wanted to live, now everybody goes. On National Night Out, everybody finds themselves in Cardinal Village, which she calls the village, working with the kids there. These women, these mothers, have helped me to understand my role as a caretaker of the community, and have empowered me to share my gifts of coaching and working with young people. They have given me courage to question philanthropy and to rethink how we see and contribute to the assets in the neighborhoods, both human and material. They've helped me to rethink the big check, the $1 million check that we often write, thinking that we can solve these issues. They've helped me to understand, like my grandmom, Estelle, to ask first, are you okay? Are you hungry? How can we help? And to be willing to support them in a way that can help them do the work that's meaningful to them and to the community. Thank you.